Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Dafuq Did I Just Watch? With your host, as always, Kyle McLemore. This week we'll be recapping and reviewing the newest superhero movie, the latest addition to the DCU. We're talking Black Adam. Now, if you haven't already, please take a moment to like and subscribe. Definitely helps the show stay alive, and feel free to comment any TV shows or movies you'd like to see reviewed here at Dafuq. And if you haven't seen Black Adam yet and would still like to, make sure you pause now and return later, as there may be several spoilers coming up ahead. That's right, this is your official spoiler alert. Directed by Jaume Collet-Serra, who has a very unique filmography. He's no stranger to the horror genre with films like House of Wax and The Orphan, but he also does a ton of action movies, mostly with Liam Neeson, like Non-Stop and The Commuter. And this isn't even his first collaboration with Dwayne Johnson. They worked together as he directed Jungle Cruise. Now, of course, the film stars Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson as its title character, but let's talk about the other supporting cast first. Aldis Hodge playing Hawkman, basically the leader of the Justice Society of America, which is basically this film's version of Batman. He's like the main financer, the leader, and has all the gadgets and equipment needed for the mission. We go briefly to his giant mansion, which makes Bruce Wayne's manor look like a piece of shit. And then it also has like a whole X-Men, like the ground opens up to have his giant hot jet. Like, Hawkman could really give Bruce Wayne a run for his money, apparently. Brosnan also starring as the unofficial co-captain of the Justice Society of America. He's also the DC version of Doctor Strange. Sort of a mystical, magical kind of guy. It's very cool to see Dr. Fate make his appearance on screen. He's got a great look, a cool shiny helmet, and he has like a cool Doctor Strange thing, always multiplying and doing all kinds of mystical stuff. Very cool. Noah Centineo stars as Atom Smasher, sort of the DC version of Ant-Man. Lots of shrinking and growing in this film. Quintessa Swindell makes an appearance as well as Cyclone. Now, both Noah and Quintessa are sort of the backseat characters in this film. They're kind of like the backup that gets called in every once in a while, which is a little bit of a shame. I wish they had it a little bit more front and center, because they are two of the more colorful characters. There seems to be a recurring theme of there being like a lot of yellow in this film. It's kind of got this like yellowish kind of hue, almost orange, like throughout the film. It's a lot of yellow and orange. And it's nice to see Noah and Quintessa, because they're the only characters that aren't basically black, yellow, orange. Like, it's like really bright colors, blue, red, some green in there as well. It would have been cool to see them a little bit more, just to add more color to the film. After a while, I just was getting kind of tired of seeing all this like yellow. It's that yellow whenever you go to the desert, they give it that yellowy kind of hue. And let's talk about our main star, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and his fantastic performance as Black Adam. With a lot of his recent films being so family friendly, not to mention his persona being presented so easily online, it's easy to forget that The Rock can be extremely intimidating and also very menacing when he wants to be. So with Dwayne Johnson, you'd have to think that he'd want to protect his sort of family-friendly image and not get too hardcore and gory and start just ripping limbs. That combined with the film reportedly being like kind of scaled back a little bit. Apparently it was a lot more hardcore, and they kind of dialed it back a notch to get that PG-13 rating, which, when you hear that kind of stuff, you're kind of like, just leave it R. But then it's also, you want this to be a movie everyone can see, not just like adults. I mean, it's a superhero movie. It should be sort of for kids. But it's an interesting balance, you know what I mean? It's like, it's Black Adam, so he's supposed to be this badass, like, kind of Punisher dude. But then you don't want him to Jungle Cruisey. It's like, you gotta straddle that line, right? And I'll argue that they straddle it beautifully, because it has one of the greatest introductions of a character ever. It's this amazing shot where, like, literally Black Adam comes back, and the first thing he does is grab a dude and basically just electrify him until he's nothing but bones. And we as the audience get to see this guy slowly melt away to just bone and dust, and it is awesome. And although it's not balls to the wall hardcore like something like Deadpool or maybe even Logan, the other rated R superhero movies, it does take it right to the edge. I mean, literally watching a dude melt to a skeleton, it's pretty graphic and it's pretty awesome. There's also really great balance between all the action and all the humor. Now lately with superhero movies, more specifically with Marvel, there seems to be a little bit of a overcorrection where anytime it starts to get a little bit slow or a little bit dramatic, they have to overcorrect and really bust out the humor machine guns and just blast jokes across the screen. One of the best things I can say about Black Adam is that it doesn't rush. Black Adam, thankfully, takes its time. Now that's not to say that Black Adam isn't without its flaws. There's a few interesting things in the story. There's a element, Eternium, that they are like digging up and finding, which apparently seems to be one of the only things that can kind of hurt Black Adam. There's a scene at the beginning where they're unloading everything in their artillery and nothing is even like scratching Black Adam until they put this Eternium rocket thing where it's like a combination rocket mixed with the element, and that seems to damage Black Adam. And that's also the last time anybody does that. Like, they do it once at the beginning of the movie and it's like, hey, we might have a weakness here with Black Adam. All right, let's get the AKs out again. Like, I was expecting to have this whole like Eternium guns or like more Eternium bombs, but they put it like in one rocket, and then later in the film they use it to like power their crazy speed bikes. It's little stuff like that, like the city that Black Adam lives in is taken over by some military force that is never really like fully explained. Like they just take it over and it's like, we own this, and we have these future bikes things. Like there is also like an element of like the people kind of standing up for themselves, but it feels very last minute. Like they kind of threw it in there like, we'll have the people like, we're revolting, but it doesn't feel like really earned at the end. It just feels like, we're the people, and it's like, oh, okay, like, all right. They do a good job of giving you just enough info on Cyclone and Atom Smasher to where you are interested and you are invested in their character. But again, you don't get too much because the main story is Black Adam and most of our focus is on him and his backstory. But it is nice that they give them their little shine. There also is a little bit of interaction between the other members of the team, which is nice to see. It plays very naturally, and it just makes me want to see more of Atom Smasher and even more of Cyclone. The main villain in the film isn't terribly complicated. It's just boils down to simply, you good, me evil, we fight. So let's go ahead and hit Black Adam with our overall rating. Black Adam succeeds because it doesn't go too over the top on any of its elements. There's not too much humor to where you're overloaded and sick of it. There's not too many new characters to where you're losing track and you've got this whole new team. It's a very small team together, so it keeps it very intimate, and you can still mostly focus on Black Adam, but still have these other characters have their little stories as well. It is fantastic to see DC finally hit a grand slam out of the park with this one. We're going to go ahead and hit Black Adam with a nice, solid B+. That's right. Nothing wrong with that. Great movie. Small room for improvement. Can't wait to see what they do in the future. And here's a pro tip for you out there. Make sure you guys stay after the credits. Trust me on that one. If you felt differently about Black Adam, make sure you comment down below, and if you haven't already, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. I am your host as always, McLemore. Thank you so much for tuning in for another episode of Dafuq, and we'll see you next time at the movies.